Hello, and welcome back to the studio. I'm Dr. Wigo, and today we're going to upgrade my audio, which I'm sure will make some of you very happy, but it's certainly going to make me happy. Well, I'll tell the story about why I came to do this. But first, if all you're interested in is seeing the Zoom H6 audio recorder and the NTG3B microphone, well, then you need to skip to the next chapter and I'll start opening these boxes and setting these things up. But first, I'm going to tell you my story. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you know that my audio has been, well, let's be polite and say uneven over the last couple of years. At first, I used the mics and the cameras, and anybody who knows anything knows that's no good. And then I tried wireless lavs. Now I'm using shotgun mics. In fact, right now I'm using a shotgun. I have shotgun mics on this camera and this camera, and I'm using the lavaliers, the wireless lavaliers being recorded to that camera over there. Which ones I use varies, because if I'm going to be walking around, then I tend to go with the lavaliers. So I use the audio track from the A7C. I have the B10 on top of the A7 IV over here, and I have the B1M on top of the FX30. So if I know I'm going to be standing here, I've been using that. I decided I need like studio microphones. And of course, the first place I always go for all my inspirations is Mark Bennett's Camera Crisis. Bennett! And he uses a Zoom H4n and the NTG3. And his audio sounds pretty good. And by the way, this is not an H4n, this is an H6. Oh, well, why did I get an H6 if Mark Bennett has an H4n? I thought I did everything Mark Bennett did. Not always. Although that was my default position. So I went in looking, and so I started doing research and watching the YouTube videos, you know, like we do. And I discovered, and then looking on Amazon, and I discovered that the H6, which is a step or two up from the H4n, has more inputs. More important, the reason I liked it, it has a color screen, which I will show you momentarily. So I like this one better for the screen. When I'm shopping around, the H6 was only like $50 more than the H4n. And I went, well, that makes it a no-brainer. Threw it in my shopping cart, and the NTG3. But then, of course, I started watching videos about microphones, and I fell in love with the Sennheiser MK416. It's like a 40-year-old microphone, German engineering. It's used in movies. It's phenomenal. It's also $1,000. Now, this isn't cheap. This is like $700, but $1,000. So I went back and forth and back and forth. The NTG3 has a little more bass. It puts a little more at the low frequencies, and I figured with my kind of nasally, whiny voice that might be a good thing. But the Sennheiser is more pure. I was torn. I was really torn. And while I'm waffling, I'm doing all this other stuff that I've done in the last many weeks. So finally, it's time. Okay, I'm going to bite the bullet, and I'm going to get the Sennheiser and the H6. And I go back to Amazon, and Amazon says the price of some of the items in your cart have changed. It turns out the price on the H6 that was only $50 more than the H4n, well, that was a special price. And it had reverted to its normal price, which was $50 higher. My funds, while they seem unlimited, are not. So I said, okay, I'll go to the NTG3. That saves me $300 that I can then cover this extra $50 for this. Oh, and then plus I had to buy some accessories. And I ended up going with the NTG3, not because it was the one I wanted, but because it was the one that was a little more affordable. That's my story. Let's open them. I guess we'll start with the microphone because there's not a lot to that. It's just a microphone. Ooh, it's got a nice little padding on the roof of the box, the top of the box, the inside. Here it is. Doesn't look like a lot for $700, does it? Well, it's just a microphone. Has a little, oh, I guess this is inspected by number 3. Yeah, QA, number 3 checked it. So if there's anything wrong with it, I'm coming after you, number 3. They're in Australia. I don't think they have to worry. But this is a supercardioid pickup pattern condenser mic But this shotgun thing, these things on the side are to deal with reflected sounds, like coming off of walls and things, and so it makes it for a better mic. The Sennheiser looks almost exactly like this. It's got the thing that I think it's a little longer, but it's a nice little microphone. It comes with a metal tube, it has Rode embossed on it, that you can put the mic in. It's padded all inside, so if you need to carry this around, drop that in there, screw that on, you're good to travel. Then there's a sign that says lift tray. Ooh. And we've got the pop filter. It's not really a windscreen, but it fits over the microphone, eliminate your plosive sounds. It also comes with a mic stand adapter. I'm not going to be using this. I bought accessories. Wait, but there's more down underneath. Oh, I guess that's what it means by lift tray. There we go. It also comes with a leatherette. I doubt it's real leather. When you have it in its little traveling tube, you can put that in there and maybe like some accessories, etc. We have a 10-year warranty if I register. We have quite the little manual. Well, it's in a lot of languages. Not a lot to it. We have an XLR blue ring with a quick start guide. I've never had an XLR microphone, so I may have to read this. And of course, the iHeart Rode sticker. So that is the Rode NTG3B. Again, not lots to see, but it's all about the hearing. So there'll be a lot to hear momentarily. Now let's move on to the thing that's going to make this all work, the Zoom H6 recorder. Now, the Zoom H6 has been around a long time. It's about 10 years old. Has a quick guide. I've watched enough videos, I don't even need to read the documentation. So what comes in the box is the Zoom H6 itself and a capsule microphone, which I will talk about momentarily. So it's a little left-right stereo microphone that you attach like so, and you can get other capsules, what they call capsules, with different, they have a shotgun capsule, there's a variety. One of them is additional XLR inputs. There's 4 on this thing to start with, which is another reason I bought it, because I wanted the multiple inputs. But you can get one with 2 more, and that's all that's in the box. Let me tell you a little history of the H6. Again, it's like 10 years old, and when it first came out, the price was the same. It was $359 then, it's $359 now. But back then, it came with multiple capsule mics, it came with a carrying case, it came with batteries, it came with a whole bunch of accessories. I think it even came with a remote control. So it had all this stuff in it. And in 2020, they changed. So after about 6-7 years, they changed to the new model, which is called, see, the black finish, where this capsule on the original was silver. Well, chrome kind of. And it came with, again, with another one, which was also silver. So in order to kind of justify dropping all the other accessories, they painted this black. So basically, they've just been paring down what comes with it over the years. So in 2020, they changed it a lot so that you get a lot less, but it's still the same price. So basically, the price has increased over the last 10 years, just secretly, by dropping things that were raising their costs. Can't imagine the battery. Oh, it also used to come with an SD card. I also bought the H6 accessory pack, which are things that used to come with the H6 and with the plastic box case, carrying case and everything. But now they sell these separately. I got it as a bundle, so I think I only paid about $20, $30 more for this. When you see what's in it, you're going to say, you paid $30 for that? Well, yeah. Now it has the windsock. Oh, that's one, which again, one of the things that used to come with it was a cover. This is one of the reasons I bought it. It's a USB-A to micro USB cable, which are, I don't know if I have that many of, if any. The wall plug adapter for this, because, by the way, this is one of the selling points of this thing, is it's battery powered. In fact, since I knew it didn't come with batteries, I went and got some. Now again, I will not be running it off of battery power. I'm going to be running it using these, which came in the accessory kit, sold separately, although I got it as a bundle. This is the cable for the remote control. Now, it's a wired remote, again, 10 years ago. I don't know where I'm going to put this, so I got the remote in case I need to have it over there, and so I can still start and stop it. For now, I can just use the battery power. To turn it on, you press and hold this button here on the side. You pull it down and hold it, and then it's going to start asking me questions. There's a rocker thing on the side. There's a menu button which pops up the menu, and then a rocker button, and then you can also press the rocker panel to select. Select my language, so I'm going to press the little rocker button. It wants to set the date and time. Now it wants an SD card. It's okay, we got our card installed. If you format the SD card in your computer and then stick it in here, it will make it take longer to boot. So I just formatted it in the H6, so it's, oh look, performance test. It's finishing the little test, and it says the quick test was okay. Phantom power. The NTG3 needs phantom power. So I'm going to go in, set the voltage at 48 volts, and I'm going to put it on track 1. Phantom power really drains the batteries. You can get like 10, 11, depending on the types of batteries, even up to like, I think with alkaline, you get up to like almost 20 hours of recording. Phantom power cuts that in half. Now there's one other thing I want to set before we get started. A recording format. It comes defaulted to CD quality, which is 44.1 kilohertz, 16-bit WAV file. Most importantly, DaVinci Resolve outputs audio into 48 kilohertz, 24-bit. Now this thing will go up to 192 kilohertz. Again, DaVinci Resolve will just cut that back down to 48. So why waste the space recording it? To 48 kilohertz, 24-bit. You can use it to tune guitars. Oh, I may not have mentioned. These XLR mic inputs are also TRS quarter-inch inputs, which means you can plug instruments, guitars, keyboards, whatever, into this. So basically, if you have a band, you can just go nuts because you can have multiple microphones and/or guitars, and then you can use this microphone outside to record, like put it in front of the drums. I didn't need all this, but I figured it would be a little bit of future-proofing. Plus, I really did like the color thing, and it's tilted a little, so if it's sitting over here, which is where I think I'm going to keep it, I'll just be able to glance, and it's tilted down, so I'll be able to see my levels on my audio. You notice it has a USB menu, SD card reader, audio interface. When you use the micro USB to plug it into your computer, you can tell this to appear to your computer like an SD card reader. So if you don't have a card reader, like you're working with a laptop, you can just plug it in, tell this to present as an SD card reader, and you can copy the files off that way. Or you can actually use this as an audio interface. Well, now we need to set up the microphone. So now you're listening to the XY microphones. Now they're facing away from me, and it looks like the level's not very good, so I'll turn it up. Turn it up some more. Hello! Yeah, okay. So that's my audio from that. And again, they're stereo, so we should be able to get a little separation as I move to the left and to the right. But now we want to attach this. So this is where I have more things that I bought. I bought one of these, which is like a shock mount. This is the C-stand that holds the overhead camera. And as you can see, I got an impact clamp, which I have attached right near the top of the C-stand. And then into that, I have the newer N-E-E-W-E-R mic boom, so that I can, and then I'm going to attach it there to the end. It has like a 3/4 inch thing on it. And this has like looks like a 1/4 inch, and it's got a converter here on it. So I took out the adapter, and yes, now, and one more thing we're going to need is an Amazon Basics XLR cable. So I got a good long cable here. Got it plugged in. I have these clamps I'm using for the HDMI cable running from the overhead camera, which I'm also going to now use. I have plugged in the USB power. By the way, that was a 32 gig card I put in here, and according to this, it will record for 61 hours. Now you are listening to the NTG3. This is the NTG3, which is right here, hopefully just out of frame. It's about 12 inches from my mouth, right here. So this is what it sounds like. This is what the audio sounds like from the Lark M1s. This is being recorded with the video on the A7C over there. Now I'm cutting to the audio from the B1M, which is on top of the FX30. And just for good measure, I will cut to the B10 on top of the A7 IV. And now back to the NTG3. I am really, really hoping that when I play this back, I will be excited that my audio is so much better on this guy than it was on these guys, because I just spent over $1,000. You say, well, that's a lot of money for audio, but think about how much money, like, I have 3 cameras that each cost like over $2,000. I have thousands of dollars worth of lenses. I have many thousands of dollars worth of cameras. It seems like $1,000 for audio isn't like out of line if you're trying to get the best quality sound. So that's the B10 on the A7 IV, which it says right on the screen is recording at 48 kilohertz, 16-bit. Now you're listening to the B1M on the FX30, also 48 kilohertz, 16-bit. And now this is the Hollyland M1s over here on the A7C. And now we're back to the NTG3. By the way, it's the NTG3B, you may have noticed on the box, because it's black. Because the original NTG3 was kind of a bronze silver kind of color.
Moments later.
So now the microphone is right. I'm touching the tip. I think it's out of frame here. It's certainly out of frame here because my whole finger is out of frame over on this camera. What do you think? Worth the money? Ooh, I got a pun. Sound off in the comments below. Yeah, I know. Dad joke. For those of you worried about how I afford all this, I'm about to start Social Security. I'm about to turn 70 and I'm going to start the maximum Social Security. So I'm going to be making a few more $1,000s a month starting in just a couple of months. I'll have no problems covering the bills for all the things I've put into this room. And actually, if you go back and add it up, this is the most expensive thing. This was like over $1,000. But this was hundreds. The lights, the accent lighting was just a few hundred, if that. The desk was $1,000. So the desk was $1,000. The wall treatments, I think all told, were like $400 or $500. This light, the small rig with the softbox was about what, $500-600. This one was $350. I know it looks like I've spent a lot of money. Well, actually, I have spent a lot of money, but it's not as much money as it looks like. And I'm really hoping it's not as much money as it sounds like, because I'm hoping I have really hit the jackpot. I've heard this thing on Mark Bennett's Camera Crisis channel, Bennett, but I can't really blame him for this because, again, I should thank him for getting me to back off of the Sennheiser, which was going to be another $300. That is the Zoom H6. I'm relatively pleased. If you're relying on this video for information, which I do not recommend because I'm pretty sure it's clear I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I'd like to say that I'm pleased with my purchases, but I haven't heard it yet.
20 minutes later.
I just did something I rarely do, which is I stopped recording and went down and listened to what we had recorded so far. I think it sounds a lot better. Not sure it's $1,000 better. I intend to make a lot of videos in this studio, so we will amortize the cost of this over a lot of videos. I'm pretty happy with this. The downsides, The micro USB, now again, this thing was designed and made 10 years ago, so I really can't fault them so much for going with micro USB instead of USB-C, since it really didn't exist back then. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. Again, it's overkill for my purposes. I'm only using one of the inputs, but I have a lot of flexibility. So someday, when I have hundreds of thousands of subscribers to my channel, and I start a podcast on a weekly basis after I retire and have more free time. Yeah, I know. You're thinking, really? A podcast? The way you ramble on? Well, actually, that's perfect for a podcast, right? You want people that ramble on. But I'll have additional inputs for doing those kinds of things. I love the little screen. You can see that we've got the recording time in red. The lights lit up. And again, the record light's lit up. The input I'm using is lit up. If I peak, the little red light will flash, so I'll know right away. But of course, I have the little meter. But that is the unboxing and setup of the Zoom H6 handy recorder. I didn't even mention all the features. It has there's little pads here where you can throw a little switch and drop it 20 dB. So if while you're recording, some loud thing starts happening, you can just hit that switch. It's a pretty handy little thing. Probably why they call it the handy recorder, because it's pretty handy. I think this was the better mic for me, for my voice, because I think the little extra on the bass makes me sound a little fuller. That's my audio upgrade. Next week, we're going to have a little bonus studio video about lighting. But it's not for lighting that I'll probably be using in the studio. Tune in next week and you'll see. It's a little bit more about lighting, and it's also going to be lighting that I can use in other rooms in the house, because I will still be making videos in other rooms. The books, Dr. Wiggo on books, I'll still do in the library down the hall here. It's about time to do a 6-month update on the ice maker. I need to clean it. That's it for today. That is my audio upgrade. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.